and welcome to this restorative and grounding yoga flow. Today we'll start in a restorative child's pose, so knees are touching and our arms are down by our side. We're dropping the forehead to the mat and allowing the torso to be fully draped over those thighs. Feel free to put a block or a bolster underneath your forehead for extra support. Allowing this practice to be as soothing, as restoring, as relaxing as you need it to be. And start to walk your hands forward towards the top of the mat. We'll find puppy pose by lifting the hips towards the sky, stacking them over the knees, and dropping the chest towards the mat. Starting to open up through the front side body, through the armpits, starting to match and connect our movement with our breath, feeling the natural rise and fall of our breath, noticing how it shifts with each and every differing asana, with each differing pose. Knowing that in restorative practices, we hold poses for longer so that we can start to get into the connective tissue and into the fascia. Whenever you're ready, start to roll through the spine. We'll come into Sphinx pose, dropping the forearms to the mat. Shoulders are stacked over our elbows here, and we're squeezing the shoulder blades together, drawing them down the back, tucking the chin to the chest slightly as we lift the crown of our head towards the sky and create this line of energy from the crown of our head all the way to the tippy toes. Drop your forehead to the mat using your arm as a pillow. Windshield wiper the knees from side to side, releasing any tension in the low back. Release the legs and extend the left arm out directly in line with the shoulder. Using your fist or block underneath your left ear, you're going to roll off onto that left shoulder, bending the top leg for a shoulder stretch. Opening up through that left side. Finding a bind with the right hand, hooking it underneath the left hip. Start to open up through the front side body, gently squeezing those shoulder blades together. We'll inhale the right hand to the sky. We're going to start to reach around with the right hand to interlace fingertips with one another. The fingertips may not reach yet, but we're just creating that mind to muscle action. Even if they aren't, you can still keep that right hand lifted towards the sky and just start to gently imagine your right hand coming down towards your left. Release, come back through center. Finding a counter stretch, left arm comes underneath the body this time, reaching directly in line, still with that left shoulder, allowing the full weight of your torso to rest on that left arm. So we're taking a counter stretch. We're stretching the opposite side of the arm. Allowing the full weight of your body to rest on the earth beneath you. Feeling the natural rise and fall of your breath as your torso is resting gently upon the floor. Relaxing any muscles in the face, allowing the head and neck to be heavy. You can use your right arm as a pillow as well underneath the head, underneath the forehead. Gently starting to lift up. We'll find that shoulder stretch on the right side, extending the right arm out directly in line with the right shoulder, rolling off onto the right side using your left fist or your left hand or block as a support for your neck. Top leg is lifted. Feeling the natural rise and fall of breath. Find that bind with the left hand at the low back, hooking it underneath the right hip. It's best to still have something underneath your head or your neck here. I didn't reach for my block, so I didn't, but otherwise we'll find that bind, reaching the left arm up towards the sky. If you can, bringing the hands to interlace behind the back. Otherwise, just creating that mind to muscle action and reaching, imagining that our left hand is able to reach back for that right hand. And let's find the counter stretch. Right arm comes underneath the body, still in line with the right shoulder, and allowing the full weight of the torso to rest on top of that right arm. Using the left arm as a pillow underneath the forehead. And again, you're completely surrendering your body to the ground. Relaxing any of the muscles in your face. Notice if you're holding tension anywhere. Seeing if you just can't let that melt away. Anytime your mind starts to wander, just gently bringing it back to the sensations of the body. And start to lift off of that right arm. Plant the palms directly under the shoulders, pushing up into a modified plank position. And on your next exhale, lifting the hips towards the sky for downward facing dog. Walking your dog out, dropping one heel to the mat and then the other. Gently waking up the backside of the legs. Moving as fast or as slow as you need to. Maybe holding one side and then holding the other. And dropping both heels to the mat. Resisting the urge to move fast, we're going to bring that right foot to the top of the mat for a low lunge. Drop the back knee, tap it to the mat and lift it. And lower, and lift, and lower. Until we drop the back knee, inhale the arms sweep up towards the sky. We're lifting up and out of the hips here. Plant the palms, step the left foot up to meet the right. Folding forward, grabbing opposite elbows, allowing the torso to rest upon the thighs. And slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae, rolling up to standing. Inhale, arms sweep up to the sky. Draw the hands down through center as we fold forward over those legs. Big bend in the knees. Inhale to a flat back. And when you're ready, step the right foot back. So we're in a low lunge on the left side. And we're going to lift and lower that back leg, tapping it to the ground and lifting it to the sky. Waking up through the psoas, plant the back knee, inhale, arms sweep up towards the sky. For one deep, long breath, plant the palms, step the left foot back to meet the right into downward facing dog. Big bend in the knees, tap the knees to the mat, and extend to downward facing dog. Tap the knees to the mat, exhale, down dog, tap the knees to the mat. Exhale, down dog. Once more. And again, moving at the flow of your own breath. We'll hold and hover the knees over the mat. And exhale, extend them long. And once again, stepping the right foot forward, planting it between the palms and dropping the back knee for low lunge. Inhale, those arms sweep up and overhead. And you can start to sink into the right leg. Toes can be tucked or untucked here. Knee is almost directly stacked over the ankle. If you need to, you can adjust your foot if you'd like to sink deeper into that right foot before stepping the left up to meet the right. Widen the stance. Bring the feet to the outside of the mat. Inhale to a flat back. Fold forward for a wide-legged forward fold. Toes are slightly in, heels are turned slightly out. Grabbing either ankle to help draw yourself and the crown of your head towards the ground. If you notice that the weight is heavily in your heels, seeing if you can't shift it forward so that it's equally distributed across the heels and the toes. Slowly start to roll up vertebrae by vertebrae. Inhale. Arms sweep up towards the sky and we'll drop our hips towards the ground for goddess or horse stance, bringing the arms into a goalpost position. Tucking the tailbone. Inhale, extend the arms and the legs. Exhale, drop for goddess. Inhale, rise. Exhale, drop the hips towards the ground. Inhale, rise, and drop the hips once more and hold. Interlace your hands at the low back and start to fold forward, coming into a wide-legged forward fold again, turning those toes in and the heels out once more. Interlaced hands can remain at the low back, or you can start to extend them towards the sky. Drop your hands towards the mat, walk your feet back in. Inhale to a flat back and step the right foot towards the back of the mat. Drop the right knee, untuck the toes. Inhale, arms sweep up towards the sky. You can start to sink into that left leg. Again, just making sure that the knee is stacked over the ankle. Palms are facing one another. Release the arms, planting the palms into the mat. Step the left foot back to meet the right for downward facing dog. Inhaling, come high on your toes and drop the heels over to the right side of the mat, taking a big bend in that right leg. Breathing into the left side body. And bring the heels back through center, dropping them over to the left side of the mat. Big bend in that left knee. Breathe into the right side of the body, expanding from the pinky edge of the finger all the way to the outside edge of the foot. And come back through center. Drop the heels. Last time of flow here, bringing the right foot in between the palms. Inhaling, arms sweep up for a low lunge. Here you can really start to sink into that right knee, adjusting the foot as you need so that the knee is stacked over the ankles, and we'll bring our arms into a goddess pose, really expanding through the chest and squeezing those shoulder blades together till you plant the hands in the mat and step that left foot up to meet the right. Beautiful. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Grab opposite elbows and sway from side to side. Torsos rest gently upon the thighs. Still grabbing opposite elbows, allow your torso to be heavy, head to be heavy. Slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae, head coming up last. Rise, inhale, arms sweep up and overhead. Exhale, hands come through heart center. Interlace the fingers at the base of the spine. Lengthen through the arms, squeeze those shoulder blades together. Expand through the heart space and fold forward. Release the arms and inhale to a flat back. Plant the palms and step the right foot back for a low lunge on the left side. Inhale those arms up towards the sky. Adjust the foot as you need and really start to sink into the left leg. And finding a goddess position with the arms. Squeeze the shoulder blades together at a 90-degree angle. Expand through the chest. Plant the palms. Step the left foot back. Exhale for downward facing dog. And we'll start to do some floor work, dropping the knees towards the mat for a restorative balasana, child's pose. Arms are alongside the body. Knees are touching, toes are touching. Allowing the whole spine, the whole torso to rest upon the thighs. Breathing into the backside of the body, breathing into the shoulder blades. Allowing the torso to be heavy, allowing the ground to support you, the earth to support us. And from here, lifting up and out of balasana whenever you're ready. We're going to gently roll down onto our spines, bring our feet hips width distance apart, planting them into the ground. Dropping the knees from side to side. Repeating this a few times, releasing any tension in the low back. The next time you drop your knees to the right side, holding down at the bottom, feeling free to place a block or a bolster underneath your knees for support. Take one more full round of breath. Start to shift those knees back through center and drop them down to the left side, holding at the bottom. Again, feeling free to place a block or a bolster underneath your knees for extra support, making sure those shoulder blades are glued to the mat and You keep the head in line with the neck and the spine. Squeeze the glutes and relax the hips down to the ground. Tap the ground and we'll inhale, our arms sweep up and overhead, our hips reach for the sky for bridge pose. Exhale, tap the ground. Inhale, hips rise, arms rise. Exhale, tap the ground with your hips in your hands. Last one, inhale, rise, arms sweep up and overhead. Squeezing through the glutes, pushing the ground away. Exhale, hands come down to the side, relax the hips. Moving through a seated forward fold, we'll shift into modified pigeon position, bringing the right leg parallel to the top of the mat, kickstanding that left leg out behind us. Underneath that right hip is another great place for a block. Ideally, our hips remain square to the ground, so if we're leaning off on towards the right hip, it's helpful to place a block underneath to create space, to allow your body to adjust to the position. Finding a counter stretch here, extend that right leg long in front of you, left leg comes up and over the right knee. Catch your drishti, or a single point of observation. And coming back through center, we'll find modified pigeon on the left side, so left shin comes parallel to the top of the mat. Matching breath with movement. Inhale, rise last time. And start to walk your hands forward or come down to your forearms. And again, feeling free to place a block underneath the left hip for extra support. For the ability to create more space in the body, more space in the mind. Using your breath as a way to soften in the body. As our restorative practice helps get into the connective tissue of the body, where emotions are more deeply stored. By using our breath, we not only relax our body, but we also release any emotional or mental or physical tension. Take one more full round of breath. Walk your hands back towards your torso. Shift weight onto that left hip and swing the right leg around, extending the left leg long. Right foot comes up and over the left knee, squeezing that right knee with your left arm. Right fingertips come behind the torso. Really pushing into that right hand to help elongate through the spine, creating a long line of energy from the pelvic floor all the way to the crown of the head. Looking over that right shoulder, catching your drishti here, or your single point of focus, of observation. That can also be your breath. Training the mind to remain present. Placing a block or a bolster underneath the forehead. Coming out of the pose slightly, lifting through the chest. And then folding forward once more, lengthening through the spine. Line of energy from the tips of the toes all the way to the crown of the head. Taking full rounds of breath and allowing the awareness of the mind to rest in the body and the sensations in the body. And start to lift the torso back up into a seated position, planting the feet hips width distance apart for reverse tabletop. Palms face down behind us, fingertips forward, and lift the hips towards the sky. Squeeze the glutes, looking directly up above us. And rather than having our feet flexed, we'll allow them to soften. Bringing the hands out to a diagonal, we'll drop the chest to the ground once more. Coming high on the toes, dropping the chest towards the ground. Inhale, rise, creating fluid spinal motions, dropping your chest to the ground, pushing into your fingertips, lifting the chest and the torso. Exhale, chest to floor. Inhale, rise. Exhale, walk the hands out in front of you. Staying high, and the fingertips are coming down onto the forearms. Surrounding our joints. Allow yourself to be where you are in this pose, in every pose really, in every phase of life. Start to walk your hands back in towards your torso. For today's restorative practice, we'll start on our backs, feet together, hands down by the sides. If you have blocks, feel free to place one underneath both knees for extra support, allowing the head and the neck, the torso, the hips, the trunk, the arms, really allowing every part of the body to be fully supported by the ground beneath you. Noticing if there's any tension in the mind or the body. Seeing if you can't soften in those areas. Taking a moment to orient yourself in time and space and feeling the points of contact between your body and the floor beneath you. And as you scan down your body, noticing those points of contact between your body and the floor, noticing the points of tension, seeing if you can't intentionally rest your awareness in these places and actively releasing the tension. And by actively releasing the tension, I simply mean not allowing the tension, whether it be in your mind or in your body, to go unnoticed. Really bringing time, attention, and care to these places in our bodies and minds that might need a little extra support in the same way that we use blocks and bolsters in our restorative practice. Start to notice the breath in the body. Start to notice the natural flow of prana, the inhales and the exhales, the space between the inhalation and the exhalation, the shift from inhale to exhale. Starting to deepen each inhalation and elongate every exhalation, being really intentional about each breath. Again, bringing that loving, tender care to each inhale, to each exhale. Slowly adding in some movement Bring one hand to your heart and one hand to your belly. Feel the inhalation expand the belly and travel up through the sternum into the chest. Heart space expands. And as you exhale, your chest softens. Breath flows back into the bowl of the belly. It expands and softens. Taking a few more deep belly breaths, allowing the nervous system to relax. Inhale. Feel the air rise, the heart space expands. And exhale, the body softens into the ground beneath us.